I guess half of me thought that I was going to get away with it and that I was going to be able to convince them, and the other half thought, well, no.
Dubbed the Queen of Pop, Madonna has been in the limelight since the 1980s, and that's unlikely to change as controversy and shock value seem to come to her naturally. Considered one of the greatest artists of a generation, this American singer-songwriter and actress is famous both for her multi-platinum hits and box office success movie roles. Madonna perfectly encaptures her namesake in her art, as religious motifs are common in her work. Exploring within the context of religious fanaticism, Madonna has always been the subject of headlines, and these days are no exception. Madonna's struggles to remain in the spotlight seem to be beginning though, as her fight for relevance amongst younger stars makes her attempts at shocking the audience a little on the sad side. In this episode of Where Are They Now, we will explore Madonna's mega successful career up into the present scandal of scantily clad Instagram posts and bizarre plastic surgeries. Before we get into it, please let us know who you would like us to cover in the next episode in the comments below, and be sure to click the like button for more. We begin our journey in Bay City, Michigan, where Madonna was born in 1958. Sadly, her mother passed away due to breast cancer when Madonna was only 6 years old. Only 3 years later, her father would wed the family's housekeeper, a marriage that Madonna resented and caused a strain between her and her father that would last for many years afterwards. Growing up in a strictly religious Italian-American household, Madonna has plenty of fodder for her future music career. Known for her high grade point average and unconventional behavior, like pulling up her skirt during class so that boys could see her underwear, Madonna has seemingly always been a little eccentric. In 1978, Madonna decided to drop out of college and famously relocate to New York City with only $35 in her pocket. Living in a small apartment in the East Village, she worked at Dunkin' Donuts to supplement her dance career. One night after coming home from work as a backup dancer, a pair of men held her at knife point and forced her to perform. She later described that horrifying moment as, quote, a taste of weakness. It showed me that I still could not save myself in spite of all the strong girl show. I could never forget it. After joining and leaving numerous bands, Madonna decided to become a solo performer and became particularly popular amongst the queer dance scene in New York City. Her first album would go gold in 1984, only 6 years after she dropped out of university to pursue the arts. In 1985, Madonna married actor Sean Penn, saying it was love at first sight on the set of the music video recorded for Like a Virgin. They would sadly divorce only 4 years later because of the tumultuous relationship. During their marriage, violent outbursts were common. Sean Penn was even sentenced to 60 days in jail for assaulting a photographer. Their divorce was cited as irrevocable differences, yet the stars still claimed to love each other despite all the issues. Even as early as 2015, Sean Penn admitted to still having feelings for the singer while on the Late Night Show with Stephen Colbert. Her career of controversies would begin in 1984 during an MTV music video performance for her hit single Like a Virgin, when her stiletto falls off her foot and onto the stage. Instead of fixing it and moving on, Madonna wreathes on the floor, imitating to an aghast audience. This ad-lib would propel Madonna into becoming a global superstar and signaling the mark of her career, as doing something wild and sitting back as her popularity would skyrocket. In fact, during her Toronto stop on the 1990 Blonde Ambition tour, Madonna was threatened arrest by Canadian police if she gyrated on stage. She refused to alter the show and performed her single Virgin as intended. As a mother of 6 children, Madonna's family is not safe from contention either. While her oldest 2 kids are from different marriages, her youngest 4 are all adopted from Malawi. Her first adopted son, David, was brought into the family because of Madonna's inability to conceive due to complications in her previous pregnancy. However, Madonna had to fight tooth and nail to adopt her 4th child, Mercy. The time being 2006 through to 2009 deemed her unfit to care for the child because she was a divorced woman. According to Madonna, the judge said, quote, I was not fit to raise children and that Mercy was better off growing up in an orphanage. Luckily, after several years of legal battles, Madonna was able to welcome Mercy into her home. A few years after that, she adopted twins, whose mother had passed and had no one to care for them. While the act of adoption is a selfless one that requires a lot of care and love, some have criticized Madonna for adopting children who still have living families. David's biological family sadly passed away, bar his father, who lived in abject poverty and was unable to properly care for his son. Giving up David to an orphanage meant that David had access to medical care, and David's father biked 50 miles to visit David in the orphanage regularly. Adopting a child with living relatives is highly unusual, and it seems an open secret that Madonna skirted some of Malawi's laws in order to adopt her son. Similarly, Mercy's uncle felt swindled by the adoption process after he had been told he would stay in contact with the young girl. Post-adoption, he was met with radio silence, and the uncle was uninformed of Madonna's subsequent visits back to Malawi with Mercy. Mercy's biological grandmother also begged Madonna to let her see the child. The ethics surrounding Madonna's adoption are extremely dubious, and her refusal to let her children meet their biological family is harsh and a little cruel. Honestly though, if this video were about Madonna's controversies, I'd probably need to sit down. Madonna and scandal are synonymous words at this point. Whether she made the scandal or the scandal made her is up for debate. But what remains clear to me is that her ability to create controversy is largely due to her commitment to her art, no matter how contentious that subject may be. So where is she now, you may ask? Well, it's honestly pretty much same soup, just reheated. Madonna continues to make headlines for her shocking actions. In 2015, she kissed Drake without his consent on stage at Coachella, and if his rather unpleasant expression afterwards tells us anything, I don't think it was very well received. Another recent scandal took place on Instagram in late November of 2021. The picture posted displayed a scantily clad Madonna dressed only in stilettos, fishnets, and not much else. Honestly, I don't really think it was much a scandal if you look back at Madonna's past. She spent decades expressing sexuality, religion, and misogyny through her art. What makes us think she's going to stop now? Her exposing her breasts to her Instagram followers is rather tame when you think about how her entire aesthetic is built on, quote, hood chic, as one Chicago Tribune article described her. People have always been mad at her for one reason or another. I see no reason why she would change that anytime soon. Despite all her spit and vinegar about being openly subversive in her sexuality, if her social media is anything to go by, one can surely see how resistant to aging she is. While it's almost common in the Kardashian era for celebrities to be caught in Photoshop fails, the sheer amount of clearly edited pictures of Madonna she posts is a little wild. Recently, in March of 2021, a TikToker described the incredibly odd incident of finding her body on Madonna's Instagram with the celebrity's own face photoshopped rather poorly onto it. While the image was posted many years ago, it's still on her Instagram. The TikToker tried to reach out to the singer's legal team with no response, and while she's a little flattered, she wished she'd been credited, for posting the body Madonna claims to have. If one even glances at Madonna's Instagram, they will see perfectly ageless and porcelain skin, the skin of a 20-year-old rather than a woman who will be 64 in 2022. It seems that sadly the ageism of the music industry, combined with the pressure to look ready and beautiful all the time, has affected Madonna. Rather than allow herself to age gracefully as every person must, she seems intent on appearing young. Although I guess no one can fault her considering just how long she's fought and clawed her way through fame for more than 40 years. I would probably be pretty upset about being human too, considering how amazing and time-defying her career has been. This has been Where Are They Now? I was your host, Sierra. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more. Thank you so much for watching.